go.
I didn't expect that.
Hey, folks. Been a little bit, huh? Don't worry, I've been alright. Just, life being life. Coming up with topics for videos is kinda hard, honestly. So, excuse me for my months of silence. I know it's been a little bit. But, oh well. I don't think you really care about that, do you? You're just here to see a cat with a shotgun up its ass. Yeah, I know you. You like Postal. It's okay. I like it too. We're both mentally deranged. Fucking motorcycle. So, today, we're gonna be talking about Arizona Man Simulator again. That's right. The only franchise where you can piss on cats, light ball sacks on fire, discover the benefits of crack, never acknowledge the existence of its third game, and experience the world through the eyes of a Reddit user, the Postal franchise. And we'll be taking a look at its magnum opus, its poster boy, Postal 2. So like I've said in the Weirdness of Postal video, Postal 2 is a really fun game, and that largely comes from its gameplay. Sure, its humor is rather dated,
What fucking moron designed this?
and sometimes the jokes land as well as a dead bird flumping out of its nest,
I need some steaks for the Psychotic Friends Network barbecue.
but the open world gameplay as you do your chores however you want is what Postal 2 really always exceeded at. Like for example, you can pay for your milk and walk out the front door of the milk store, or you can go into the back room, uncover a secret terrorist hideout, kill everybody inside of it, and jump out the window. Postal 2 immersive sim confirmed? No. Well, maybe, I don't know. Go ask Sean Water, he could tell you. Okay, but no, in all seriousness, the game has plenty of content that lets you go about your week however you wish. And a lot of that content comes from exploring Paradise, the fictional Arizona town that the game takes place in. With scorching heat, rude population, and downright bizarre layout, Paradise is what I call a memorable shithole. Because despite being awfully rotten to the core, it is absolutely flourishing with effort. Running with Scissors really did a great job at making this place feel alive in its own little peculiar way, as despite looking like the last town you ever want to visit on a trip to the United States, it still comes through with so many secrets and little details that you only ever notice if you go out of your way to look for them. Some of them even being a little off-putting. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is Paradise, the twisted world of Postal 2. Alright, so what is immediately striking about Paradise the moment that the player starts the game is just how unappealing it is. The intro shows you exactly what you need to know about Paradise. It's in the middle of the desert, the citizens are not exactly normal, and it is a very violent place. And this perfectly sets the tone for the rest of the game and the world that it takes place in. Paradise at all times is showing you that you do not want to live here. The infrastructure is beyond messed up. Housing is tight and cramped, it's impossible to even drive over its bizarre streets, the vegetation is all dead, there are toxic dumps everywhere in town, the food is... yeah. And most buildings feel as if they were designed by somebody whose only knowledge of architecture is from playing Unreal Tournament and Quake. But the funny thing is, all of this is intentional. Paradise sucks because the developers want you to hate it just as much as the main character, the Postal Dude, does himself.
Jeez, whoever designed this town was on serious crack.
This right away can be seen as a deconstruction of the usual open world game map. The idea of an open world game was still relatively new back at the time, with the Grand Theft Auto games still being the leading franchise on this genre. But Vice City had just released a year prior with its fiction interpretation of Miami that was critically acclaimed for being really beautiful. Neon lights all over the place, crystal clear water, sports cars, active nightclubs. And then you look at Postal 2 and its world is just so much more cynical in comparison. Yet, it's this exact ugly world that gives Postal 2 so much character. Paradise may be terrible to live in, but it is still a town with people that live in it, and the developers recognize that. So instead of just making it look like crap and leave it as a ghost town, they still bother to fill it in to the brim with details to make it feel like a real place. Such as, for example, just check out how lively the soundscape in this game is. A lot of effort went into making Paradise sound real, and in Postal 2, ambience is everywhere you go. There are very few moments where you're not listening to anything. Runaway Scissors recognized the importance of sound design in this game, and they just did not disappoint at all. When you take a moment to stop and take in your surroundings, Paradise almost definitely feels like a real town. In fact, there is a really good video on the sound design of Postal 2 made by the YouTuber Chicken. God damn.
The world of Postal 2 is rather void of music. While it can be a big negative in many games that would benefit from music playing at all times, like many RPGs for instance, in the case for Postal it's a rather great way of constructing a believable world. Remember, you are just some guy that needs to accomplish rather mundane stuff, like getting a paycheck, buying milk, or going to the hospital to get your gonorrhea treated. Ambience and the application of appropriate music in the right places really shows how lame and mundane the protagonist's life really is, and I think it also helps to push the player more and more into violence.
Speaking of violence, let's talk about that. Violence in Postal 2 is, well, usually done by you committing it on other people. Usually violence is treated as a highly important event in other open world games. Like for example, you take your Grand Theft Autos and you have a very normal-ish looking environment, and then oh, here you come with your explosive minigun raining fire on these poor unsuspecting civilians. And then meanwhile in Postal 2, violence is almost seen as a everyday thing. I mean, sure, people will panic and run away if you blow Johnny Appleseed's head off in the middle of the street, but then some people might just walk up to the corpse and kick it. I mean, while not every citizen does this, it speaks very loudly about the people's Paradise's mental states. You're clearly not the only misanthrope in town. There are more people just like you, just waiting to see others around them die for the sake of it. Hell, I mean, if you crank up the difficulty of the game, you're not even the guy going postal anymore. It's literally everybody else. And still on the topic of citizens, Paradise has a very diverse amount of people living in it. And, well, much like the town, these citizens have personalities that are difficult to like. The population is rude and unforgiving. So much as a simple bump into somebody gets you insulted, possibly even shot at. And well, clearly this is done to make the player feel less bad about going on a killing spree. I mean, this is still Postal after all. Yet, that doesn't mean that these people don't have lives of their own. With some clever world building, Paradise actually tells you just exactly what kind of people are living in it, using some very rich visual storytelling. Like, for example, when you reach the asylum for the first time, you will see two doctors chasing away a runaway patient. And then if you head down inside the asylum, you will see that the doctors are, well, not exactly very sane themselves. Head down to the basement and you will find out that they're coming up with some sort of world domination plan using their own patients' brains. Third eye? What the fuck? Meanwhile, in a rich residential neighborhood, there's this odd house that you might think is abandoned at first, until you go inside the bathroom and find out it's owned by a serial killer. Or a dentist. Yeah, same thing really. The next house over, we can see a SWAT officer living with his roommate, neighbored by a house that clearly belongs to one of the Runaway Scissors protesters outside of their offices, a house owned by rednecks, and even a condemned house that when you go inside of it and check out the rafters, oh no, and there is more, a lot more in fact. Every building in this game is just bound to have at least one unique thing about it that just adds some personality behind it. Like how one of your neighbors is a crack dealer who I visit often.
Sure.
Wait, we're still talking about Postal 2, right? One of my top favorite buildings in this game is this one that has a huge satellite map of the entire town. You can see like literally everything in it, even Uncle Dave's compound down there with the tanks surrounding it. And also in the same building, you also have this bizarre door that just confuses me every time that I see it. Just what exactly were they planning here? I mean, in any other game, I would call this a mistake, but in Postal 2, somehow it just kind of fits right in. After all, Paradise clearly was built by people who just do not give a damn about safety regulations. I mean, once again, just see how the streets are designed. There's not even any road lines, which makes a lot of sense when you start seeing overturned cars everywhere and why you don't see any cars driving around at all. People in Paradise just give up on driving completely because the roads are just so terrible that they choose to just walk instead. And by the way, this is never told to you directly in game. You come up with this conclusion just by looking around the scenery and connecting the dots. This not only builds the world and fits right in with Paradise's theme, but it also does something incredibly smart. It lets the developers not have to worry about designing a map fit for cars, and also, well, they don't have to worry about programming cars in at all. Instead, letting them focus on more important things such as, piss physics.
That's the ticket.
God, I love this game. So, you know something that I love about video game worlds? World building. And Paradise is just full of it. Like every single part of town feels like it was built with intention in mind. Every building has a purpose, and you can go inside of literally every single one of them. And they're not exactly very repetitive either. I mean, you might get one building here and there that repeats, but for the most part, they're all very different. You have abandoned buildings, you have stores, you have houses. What Paradise doesn't have in size, it compensates in interactability. Every spot of this game is just oozing with stuff for you to find, from items such as weapons, food, catnip, scissors, crack. The game rewards exploration plenty. Are you guys ready for a funny joke? Watch what happens when you follow the marching band for a while. Ah, 2003, everybody.
Would you please sign my petition?
On that note, check out what this one is looking at the library. Okay, now here's one of my favorites. No joke this time, this one's actually kind of cool. So you know how every loading zone has like these little loading signs around it? Well, this container on the way to the church fell over and spilled out a whole bunch of loading zone signs. Guess what's through the containers? A loading zone. I don't know, I just find it kind of cute. And, well, honestly, this is all only scratching the surface, because there's really stuff for you to look at all over Paradise. But, well, maybe, just maybe, you should not look too hard, because some places, well, let's just say that they're not normal.
Didn't you just say shit? I feel better already. Ah! I definitely need more of that.
They're not that scary though, honestly. But all of this pales in comparison to one place. One single place that you're never forced to go through in the entire game. A place that is so beyond strange, yet so ridiculous and at the same time well designed and a highlight of the game on its own. A place that most players completely miss out on their first playthrough. And all of this located entirely behind your trailer.
Let's see what dwells in the depths of my trailer. Whoa!
That's right, we're gonna talk about the secret Taliban hideout in the sewers and the secret Taliban base located in the outskirts of town. What? What? What do you mean I need to take off the tinfoil hat? What are you doing in my room? Yeah, you heard me right. The man doesn't want you to know this, but there's an entire terrorist force hidden right under your feet and outside of your tower, accessible through a hidden pipe right behind your trailer. And I'm gonna show you. But before we get there, well, I'm gonna need some equipment.
Hi there.
Is this everything?
Yes.
That'll be $200. And come again.
If you say so.
The fuck is that? What the?
Get that motherfucker!
You guys suck. I am the law.
Okay, now that I'm ready, let's talk about the most awesome optional combat encounter in any game I've ever played. Fighting off terrorists in the sewers, raiding their base, and ultimately killing motherfucking Osama bin Laden. I think. The citation needed. This entire sequence is at least 15 to 20 minutes of just pure combat, as you basically massacre the entirety of Taliban itself. And the best part is, it's actually very fun, if you're tackling it with the right equipment, of course. The level design here is honestly not that bad. This goes completely against the cliches of a serial level. It's big, it's wide, good marksmanship is rewarded, and despite the amount of terrorists that the game throws at you, you never really feel overwhelmed. Supplies are scarce, which means that preparation is necessary, and what little is given to you is enough to feel fair, but also to keep you on your toes. And then when you get out of the sewer and go into the outskirts, that's when the level design really shines. It really reminds me of Half-Life, especially the Surface Tension chapter, which might have been a big inspiration. You know, going from the edge of a mountain in a desert to fighting caves, and then turning into a little small industrial complex. You even come across scientists doing something, I don't know, but it's clear where the inspiration comes from, and the inspiration was used pretty well in my opinion. These sections look good, like hell, they would fit right in a Half-Life mod, I would say. Not just in looks, but also in gameplay. Like, the rooms are big and cover is plentiful, but enemies come in numbers, and then when you start fighting these turrets wearing red, headshots and melee kills are necessary as they drop armor that you would otherwise destroy with body shots. And then after all that, you finally get to the main event himself, Osama bin Laden, I think. He is honestly not that hard. You just bomb rush him and hope you have enough health and supplies, and dodge his missiles. And well, when you kill him, you get a unique weapon that you can only acquire here, the aptly fit Weapon of Mass Destruction, which is a RPG that fires chemical rockets and makes every corpse caught in it toxic, meaning that it's a pretty good weapon for crowd control and mass chaos. But honestly, I'm sorry, nothing beats the decapitated deceased cowhead. Like, that is still one of the greatest video game weapons of all time. And with that, you make your way back home and congratulations! You just beat an entire optional fight and got a kick-ass unique gun out of it. This encounter alone just has everything that I like about Postal 2's Paradise in it. It rewards exploration, it's memorable, it's ridiculous in nature, and you get something helpful out of it. This right here is how you make your player interested in exploring. Now, out of the desert and going back into Paradise. Remember something that I mentioned in my other Postal video? How those bizarre sound effects from Postal 1 are in Postal 2? Let's take a look at that. So, yeah. Like I said previously, these sounds have no reason to be here. They don't really have any source. It really stands out with the otherwise well-made sound design of Paradise because, well, keep in mind, these sounds are not exactly overabundant or random. You only hear them here and there, and with the way they've been used, it almost feels like the developers wanted the game to have a strange, surreal nature to it. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Paradise is weird. Like, really weird. The way that it looks is weird, the people who live in it are weird, and as such, these sounds being here and there when it comes to the game's map design, well, it makes Paradise feel liminal. A town that is so poorly made that no way that anybody would ever live in it, yet the game wants to sell us on the fact that there are people who actually live here. With this in mind, Paradise exists in a limbo where it's strange enough to not feel real, but also detailed just enough to make the player's brain believe that it could exist. Add some weird sounds here and there, and suddenly, Paradise feels like a location put out of a strange dream or even a nightmare. And with the strange secrets you can find in it, well, it really feels like Paradise has more to it than what we've seen so far. And, well, considering how Apocalypse Weekend ends, as well as Paradise Lost, spoiler alert, I guess we'll never know just what exactly lies in the depths of Paradise. Through the toxic sewers, through the terrorists, through the hellhounds. It's Satan. It's literally just Satan. I play Paradise Lost. I know what's down there. Also the Postal Dude's wife. Anyway, time for some fun trivia. Did you know that this billboard that you see right next to the asylum is actually an advertisement for a game that Random with Scissors liked? Yeah, Even Meteor Hunter is actually a real game that John Merchant, also known as Top Loader, liked so much that they offered Steven Studio an advertisement Postal 2 entirely for free. No money was exchanged at all, just a game studio supporting another one. And like, that is honestly so sweet, but like, having your game advertised in Postal 2, I mean, it's kind of like having your game be advertised in a saw trap, you know? On the topic of billboards, I've always been a fan of how some of them foreshadow things that's about to happen in the following days. Like this Gary Coleman one and this Napalm Company one. Like they even foreshadow that the Postal Dude needs napalm to kill weeds. I also like this billboard, it's funny. And finally, here's one of my favorite details of all time, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this video in the first place. So, go find a donut, drop the donut on the floor, piss on it, pick it back up, and drop it in front of a cop.
Oh God,
Yeah, they actually did that. They actually programmed this in. We do a little trolling here in Paradise. Anyway, finally, to wrap this up, Paradise really is a town like no other. So much, in fact, that the towns from the sequels honestly do not interest me at all as much as Paradise. Carphasis in Postal 3 is a joke compared to Paradise, and, well, that mostly comes from Postal 3 being extremely linear and being Postal 3 in the first place. And the town from Postal 4, well, knowing that Postal 4 is still in early access, and I think it's way too early to think about it. I mean, from what I briefly played of it, the town just feels like it's trying maybe a little bit too hard to recapture that Paradise feel. And in some ways it does it well, in some other parts it kind of doesn't. But the game is unfinished, so I'm sure it's going to change in the future. And, well, that's Paradise. Like I said, a memorable shithole. You go into it, you see things, and you come out as a changed person. Like, for example, you might just subscribe to my channel. Or even, get this, follow me on Twitter where I tweet garbage like this. Or, you might just buy Postal 2 on Steam, play it, and enjoy it. Otherwise, I will come to your house, and I will step on your toes. Really hard. Like, really, really hard.
Like it's gonna hurt.
So guys, we did it. No, I'm not gonna do that. Hey guys, last minute announcement here because this is huge. And I mean, holy shit, this is awesome. We have just hit 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers! Look at it. It's so beautiful. But no, really, thank you all so much. This is huge for me. This channel has been around on YouTube for years now, and anybody who has decided to go back on my video catalog or has been subscribed for a long time now, knows just how much this channel has changed throughout the years, from the types of content I used to do all the way back in 2016. God, that feels like such a while now. From GTA 5 machinimas to GTA 5 videos and clips to eventually just shitposts and then different games, and then Red Dead Redemption 2, and then Red Dead Online, and then shitposts again. But really, it wasn't until this year that I started dabbling on this new kind of content, these little video essays. And wow, just the way that the channel has exploded since then it's incredible. Like, I did not expect this amount of people to just start liking the kind of content that I make. And I can sincerely say that I think I finally found my footing. And I am so happy about that. I have to thank a lot of people for having helped me get to this point. I mean, sincerely, of course, I have to thank my editor, Butterdork. If you haven't checked out his channel yet, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Go check him out right now, please. He is an amazing video editor, and he's a great friend. We've had our ups and downs, as has every friendship, but we have come out on top as great friends, and we enjoy making this kind of content together. And sincerely, I don't think this channel's success would have been possible without his amazing editing. He's a fantastic video editor, and I highly recommend you to check out his videos as well.
Cool cars and sexy ladies.
I also have to, of course, thank every single one of my friends who have supported me through this, from feedback to just genuine support. I had a lot of fun watching my videos with them, just hearing them laugh, just getting them interested in all sorts of things that they never even have heard about before. I am sincerely so happy that I've had so much support in making this kind of content ever since, from my friends, from subscribers. You guys, every single one of you, you guys rock. Thank you all so much. So yeah, I am really happy about this milestone, and I hope that we can reach more in the future. Once again, thank you all so much. Every single one of you are amazing people. You all rock. Thank you.